Provo Beast here, doing another install on a 2009 Pontiac G6. Today we're doing a radio replacement, replacing this Alpine, or in some cases a factory radio. Today we're putting in a doubled-in Pioneer AVH-X2700 or 2800BS. This one specifically is the 2800. We're going to remove this dash panel, remove this factory radio, and install the new radio. So the first thing we're going to do is remove their old radio, and it's actually quite tedious because you have to remove both the underside panels and the glove box in order to expose most of this dash bezel around the radio. So first things first, we got to remove this driver's side bezel. Okay, so here on the driver's side, kind of get it panel toe up underneath. Just be gentle. Like that. 3 clips. Which exposes, these are all the same size, they're all 7mm.
Nice file, so it was in there. Right, now exterior. Go up underneath. Just kind of pop it, be gentle with the clip. See that? Okay. Now you'll notice there's a few screws underneath here as well.
Okay, just gently put it down here. That exposes this lip and the screw. So now this is now free. We're going to do a very similar process on the other side. Okay, on the passenger side now.
Again, that expose. Be gentle.
Okay, up underneath here, there's this underside panel. It's held on by these 2 clips. Just be gentle. And doing this exposes a few screws up underneath. Sorry if this is so jumpy, it's hard to do with one hand. Alright, I'm gonna pull these screws out. Okay, so I can show you. See, there's a screw there. Screw there, and the screw there. Pull those out. Okay, so then I remove 3 screws from up here, which the weight just pulls the panel down a little bit. And then you're going to notice there's going to be a screw down there. And that should be your last one. Okay, once you get that screw out, that pops out the whole glove box. And allows free access now on both sides for this panel to come out. So essentially, you can kind of just get your hands behind and pull. You gotta be very gentle. See that? Now if you need assistance from the panel tool, you can. Kind of get up underneath. Very gentle. There you go. Now you're going to have just one switch, which is the hazard switch. Just unplug the harness from behind the hazard, and this whole piece should slide on out. Now, a lot of the time, don't turn the car on, but you can put the brake on, pull back the shifter, which will allow this to come free. Okay, once you get this harness, this comes free. You can set this off to the side. You can put it back into park. Turn off the car. Alright, so it exposes these for 7mm. But that won't come out because you got to take these HVAC controls out. Just kind of set them down below. And then this whole radio bezel, whether it be factory or aftermarket, will come out. Okay, once you get those screws out, just kind of set this down below here. Pull out those 4 7mm. And there you go. And again, this applies to both aftermarket and factory radios. Same procedure. Kind of a mess of wires here. What we're going to do is we're going to clean this up. We're going to get this new Pioneer put in here, get it all wired in. Now keep in mind, these GM vehicles have a data signal, or it's a CAN bus system, however you like to view it. There's no remote turn on wire or ignition wire at the radio. You have to pick up these, I don't know what brand this one was. GM25, it looks like possibly a Scotch adapter. We'll look into that a little bit further. But we also have steering wheel control. So there's a couple of things that you have to get fixed here on these units in order for this to actually function properly. You can't just basically replace the stereo with a wiring harness. I'll post a list of parts below in the description so you know what to purchase for this install if it applies to your same application. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out all this equipment, kind of start from scratch from the factory harnesses. This is basically what you would see in the event that you pulled out the factory radio, just these plugs. And we're going to go ahead and get the new radio wired up. Okay, so this is what you need. In these GM vehicles, you need a GM interface that talks to the vehicle. This one's a used one from Scotch. It's been all taped up, but it is a Scotch adapter. Other companies that make them are PAC and Access. You need a GM interface that provides both the option for a ignition wire. It retains the factory chimes. So that's the purpose of that. This unit also comes with a relay, the factory wiring harness, which I've paired using butt connectors to the Pioneer harness. So all I did here is just match the colors up. Now since this is a Pioneer and it requires a double pulse to bypass the video park brake warning, this is the micro bypass, picked up on Amazon. I did a review on this in a different video. It just requires a remote turn on wire, which I just wired it into the Pioneer's blue and white wire. The black one's the ground, which you just tapped into the ground, and then the green one is the parking brake wire. You wire this in and it bypasses the video warning. Everything else just matched up by colors. Now this long green one is hooked into this orange reverse gear input because we're putting a backup camera on this G6. One that may be a little different, the yellow and black wire is your mute wire, which we used. What we didn't use in this, specifically in this install, is a red and white wire and a red and black wire. They weren't needed. Other than that, that's about it. If you have questions about this harness, just post a comment below. Now keep in mind, when you buy these adapters, they do come with instructions of how to wire them. So the components all in this piece are this GM retention module, retains the ignition, and CHIMEs. These wiring harnesses, which plug into the factory harnesses. Typically they'll come with this as one piece. This wiring harness that comes with the Pioneer, and this micro bypass. Now over here you can see this factory bracket. You just pick one of these up. It's a factory retention bracket. I'll post a link below with the model number. Here's our new Pioneer. This will fit right in the factory location. Okay, so after that wiring harness, before I start putting this back together, now going here, put in our Bluetooth mic. So what I did is I just tucked the wire down in here, put the Bluetooth mic right there, and I just tucked it down, the weather stripping. See, it comes out there for now. But I'm going to tuck it all the way down out below so I can go up underneath and up into the stereo cavity. Here's a quick unboxing of the backup camera, an aftermarket backup camera that's applicable to really any aftermarket stereo or radio. See, car camera. Comes with this kit. Your video line goes from the rear of the vehicle to your radio. Power cable. Red is power, black is ground. We'll probably tap into the reverse line. And the license plate camera itself. User manual. Comes with a warranty card. So yeah, pretty cool kit. Okay, so I ran the mic wire, the video feed wire, and the backup camera reverse gear trigger wire. Just threw all the way up into the stereo cavity. Again, so the purpose of this green wire is when you put it in reverse, puts a 12-volt switch to the green wire telling the backup, the radio to accept the backup video feed. Easy as that. Here's our mic wire and our video wire. So we got all three of those ready to go. This will run to the back of the car, and then this we're going to tap into the backup trigger. Okay, so what I've done is this is all in. Unfortunately, with this model and the pack adapter that came with the old stereo, it wasn't compatible with the new Pioneer. So we'll have to hold off on steering wheel controls, but I'll do a part 2 and show that down the road here. What I've done since the last update, I pulled out the cigarette lighter from there and put in flush mount adapter with the aux and USB in the factory location. How cool is that? And these will plug into the back USB and aux on our Pioneer. So this is ready to go. Got our plug, everything's run. So at the radio, we are ready to put this all back together and then continue on with the backup camera installation, and that's about it. Okay, so I plugged in the radio, the main harness, USB, auxiliary. We did the backup camera video feed, the Bluetooth mic, and the antenna. So we plugged those all in, put this back together, and it looks great. Unfortunately, these won't work yet. That'll be part 2 later once we get that adapter ordered. Probably get the ASWC one since those work so well with Pioneers. This looks great. Little factory integration. Little cover that works on it. There we go. So at this point, see if I can unmute it for you. Yep, everything works. So I'm not going to put everything back together at this point, only because we want to make sure we test the backup camera. That'll be the next segment here. We're going to tap into a reverse trigger wire and run the backup camera video feed all the way to the back. Okay, So what I've done, here's the video cable. I have just tucked it up underneath here, underneath this panel, through the back kick panel, tucked it just up underneath. Now the seat comes up, just if you pull on it like that, tucked it up underneath the seat. Pull this back, I just tucked it up underneath this trunk lining all the way back. It comes out right here, all the way from the front of the car. Here's the grommet that goes into the trunk, so you'll make a little teeny slit and run the power cable and the video cable through that. See, it comes out there, and then it runs down. I used just a hanger and fished it out right here. So this will plug into the camera. Now for the power cable, this end is the end that plugs into the camera. And what I did is I ran it through and I started splitting it. And here's the ground, and the ground will go to the factory ground. And then the positive, I'll locate here in the reverse light and tap into there for the positive trigger. Now this provides power to the power to the camera. And then I still need to tap in up front for the reverse trigger wire. So I'm going to go ahead and tap into this wire. Now looking here, you got black and then you got green. So green's your positive and black is your negative. And I'll go to that. Okay, so I got this hooked up to that green wire, which is your backup camera. Excuse me, your reverse wire. So I put the positive to that, ran it through the grommet, and then the negative, I tapped into one of these negative wires. So that's good to go. So this is the extra video cable, which I'll just tuck away. And then I'll hook the backup camera up to that. We're good to go in the trunk. We'll put it all back together. Last thing we have to do before we put the dash back together is locate the reverse trigger wire at the kick panel for the head unit. Okay, so what I ended up doing is running for the reverse trigger wire for the head unit. This blue wire I had laying around, it's about 17 feet worth. And I ran that from that green wire, the kick panel, that goes to the head unit, all the way to the rear tail light, and I tapped into the same wire that I did, that green wire, as I did with the camera itself. So it's at that same point that when you put the car in reverse, the reverse light comes on and it'll send power to the head unit as well as the camera to tell the camera to start recording or viewing, as well as the head unit to start showing what the camera sees. Hopefully that makes sense. If that doesn't, just let me know. Now at this point, I'll put everything back together in reverse order. Okay, so we got the dash all back together. I had to start filming this the next day. We ran out of light here. Dash is back together. Stereo is in, like in the previous segments. Steering wheel controls won't work yet over here, only because we need to get the new adapter. But I will do a part 2 and post the link on this video when that footage becomes available. Other than that, boots up, Bluetooth's on. Put the mic right up here. Showed how we ran that. Backup camera. Backup camera works great. Now the way that we did this in the last segment, I was looking for the reverse trigger and the kick panel. Just to save time, what I ended up doing, that green wire, the reverse trigger wire that you saw that kind of ended about right here, what did I end up doing is I just attached the same gauge wire to it and extended it all the way back to the tail light, the reverse light in the back, the same source that pulls current for the backup camera power. In theory, When the reverse light turns on, when we put this in reverse, it supplies power to both the backup camera as well as the head unit to cycle over to take the camera video feed. If that doesn't make sense, please just post a comment below. I can see if I can explain that a little bit better. But basically, like, as you remember, the backup camera needs a 12-volt signal to work, and also this as well. If you have any questions, please be sure to comment below. Like I said, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next install. Thanks for watching.